Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Sean.
Thank you for being here. Of course, tell people where they can come see you.
Well, I'm almost done with conventions and shows for the year. This weekend, the 21st, I think, I will be at the Eclectic Market in Davenport, Iowa, at the Great River Brewery. I can't say the word brewery. It's like my niece trying to say Minneapolis. She says Minneapolis. Anyway, I will be there. Got my stickers that I ordered for the show last weekend today, so those will be making their debut. And I think that's going to close me out for the year. So if you're in the area, come and see me. Otherwise, you can go to jefflassiter.com for all my links. Jeff Lassiter Pop Cult, all one word, is my Instagram. That's where I post new stuff, in progress stuff, and eventually, after we let a little time pass, I might put some of my thoughts about this last weekend's convention that I did here in the Quad Cities, the Quad City Toy Show. Just a little interesting tidbits about some of the celebrities that were super cool or were not super cool. Yeah, I was really excited to. I might as well say it here because nobody that I know cares. I got to meet Chris Bartlett, who's the new body of C-3PO.
Yeah.
In all of the Disney Plus stuff. He was very cool. Amy Allen, who played Ayla Secura in episodes 1, 2, and 3, was there. She was also very cool, trying to get me to move back to California. So would love to. As we were in the middle of a snowstorm, she's like, "You should move back to California." I was like, "You know what? Looking outside, you might be right." And then one of the Pink Power Rangers, Catherine Sutherland, she was very, very sweet, very nice. Then I met Zach Galligan from Gremlins.
Yeah.
Who did not really want to be there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he was rude?
did a Gremlins, not rude. You could just tell his heart wasn't in it. And, he
was just a bad weekend, maybe?
Well, he was nice enough, but
that's good.
These guys all have a guarantee, and like they're there to make money, and when there's nobody there, they're not going to make any money. And because we had a giant snow dump on Saturday, and then
crowds were small.
It was very, very, very cold all weekend long. I think that might have affected his mood, maybe, but I was just kind of like, I almost didn't want to get my Gremlins piece that I did specifically to have him sign. I almost didn't get it signed, but I said, well, maybe if I do a convention in a warmer place sometime and he's there, maybe he'll be different. But I did get it signed, and that I have a couple left. Those are on my website. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, I recently had very, very good luck with cons where everybody is super cool and pumped to be there, and it was just a little bit of a letdown, I guess. So
yeah, I get that, and that's not even the worst thing that happened this weekend. But
nope.
Well. Just for me, you can go to vocal.media. You can read my review of The Plague, which is a new movie coming out this weekend with Joel Edgerton. That is up now, and getting a lot of unique reaction to my Ella McCay review, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But obviously, there was nothing that stood out from this weekend because of what happened. The son of Rob Reiner has been arrested for murder. He murdered both of his parents in their home over the weekend, and it couldn't possibly be more depressing or devastating. I met Rob Reiner in 2003. This is who he is. He came to a conservative radio station that I was working at to sit down with the hosts and just have a conversation about Howard Dean. And him and Martin Sheen were together campaigning for Howard Dean. They were out doing this thing that Rob Reiner has done his entire life, fighting for things that he cares about. And they could not have been kinder. They could not have been nicer. They could not have been just better human beings, dealing with these uh, conservative people. They took every question and took every picture, and just consistently impressive. Yeah, I don't know. What do you say at this point when you're talking about something this horrific? It was just one of those things that is just, it's so shockingly out of the realm. Like, it reminded me of when Phil Hartman was murdered by his wife. It's like, Phil Hartman got murdered? What are you talking about? That's not even possible. That's like
Yeah.
that's not even in the realm of possibility. Like, the chances of this seem just impossible. And with Rob Reiner being someone who's always just been so beloved and just given so much of himself to the world, it just kind of blows your mind that this isn't even possible. There are things like car accidents or house fires in the world well, it's sad, but I understand. You can't rationalize this. This is just, it's so beyond understanding. You can't write this. If you were trying to write a story about it, it just doesn't. No one would believe you. I could not bring myself to believe this until I saw the pictures from TMZ of Billy Crystal and Larry David, and I started seeing all the tributes pouring in. It was just, uh, yeah, it's unlike anything I think we've ever seen in Hollywood history.
Yeah, I know that I was actually at my show on Sunday when I read the news. And I gotta say, the first thing I thought of was, not knowing anything about his relationship or anything, was Phil Hartman. Did something like that happen? Um, and then as word started to trickle out over the next 24 hours, it was increasingly more horrific. Um, yeah, I mean, what do you say? There's really nothing. I mean, it's shocking, and it's um, reading all the tributes though are,
Mm.
they're really beautiful. How many people he touched and they touched. Jamie Lee Curtis did a nice one about them as a couple. Uh, a lot of people talked about both of them as one unit because they
Yeah.
were, for the last 30 some years. Everything he did, she was involved in. Um, and they were a partnership. And I guess, that just that makes it even worse. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Of course, the first thing that a lot of people were saying online is that they were wondering if this was a MAGA thing, if some
Mhm.
conservative had killed him because he was so outspoken, and thankfully that wasn't the case. But we couldn't ignore that idea. I mean,
No,
it's
no.
not that, again. That's also something that's just not out of the realm of possibility. Um, and of course, somebody had to say something horrible, which, of course, I'm talking about the White House, because
Yeah.
what else does that person do? Um, and just unthinkable, unthinkable. You just never thought that we would get to a point where you can just kind of go, when you can kind of hear that horrible thing, and go, no, it doesn't surprise me that he said that. But who you're talking about is the president of the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. Disgusting, and it just vile. And that seems to be the bar. Um, and I'm gonna say that, like, there are a lot of people, that under people that I know and thought I was friends with, who kind of opened up a little bit of a lid on the cesspool of people who, because he was an outspoken liberal, progressive activist, were saying some really shitty things because they learned nothing from Charlie Kirk. Um, and they were like, oh well, I remember when Charlie Kirk died, he went after, and no, he didn't. He did a very he said some very nice things, and on Piers Morgan's show, you can look it up. It's not hard to see. So all of you people who were, I can't believe the left is saying all these things about Charlie Kirk out of one side of your mouth, and then turning around and calling, Rob Reiner, they're calling him a pedo, and that this is why his son killed, and it was just like so fucking stupid. And these people, I'm not sure if they're bots or if they just perpetually live online, but it's gross, and stop it. Just
Yeah,
fucking stop it.
it's just so disgusting. One of the first things, of course, oh well, his son was trying to transition to be a woman. It's like, just please fuck off as hard as you can.
That
Fuck
that
off.
is literally all the right does. Anytime something happens, they say it was trans related. It it's just it's so it's almost parody at this point.
Mhm.
Uh,
If you are somehow someone who defends this man and you're listening to this show, you can fuck off right now too. We don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
give a fuck about you.
Or else
We don't,
send us
you,
$500 on Patreon right now.
no one. I don't understand just anyone who can be okay with any of this. It's so beyond right now. But shifting gears to talk about movies, talk about his movies specifically. I think for me, The Princess Bride is like it's a touchstone. It's my touchstone. It's the one I always go to. It's the movie that I find easiest to watch whenever I want to watch it. Um, it, it's such a it's such a brilliant movie because there's just no reason for it to work as well as it does. And it takes a great filmmaker to make something like that, to craft a film that perfect. It almost becomes mundane because there's just you can't really find fault with it. It's strange how that works when something is just so perfect. I could say similar things about Spinal Tap or uh, just When Harry Met Sally. Even a Few Good Men, I think, is underrated because it is again, it's a movie that is so kind of perfectly mainstream. It's like it's so right down the right down the pipe of terms of in terms of what people wanted to see and enjoy, and yet it is very, very good. You kind of lose the artistry in thinking just how appealing it is.
Yeah, yeah. I I'm kind of down the other side of Rob Reiner. Um, he's the first person who did two perfect Stephen King
Hmm.
adaptations. And everybody talks about Stand By Me, but I love the movie Misery. That's probably my favorite movie of his. Watch it every December because it was kind of a transformative theater experience for me. Uh, I think it was the first movie I ever saw in college. Just kind of on my own with a couple friends, and in Denver. We were in Denver, and when she does the line, that's why I couldn't remember all the things they asked me on the witness stand in Denver. Everybody kind of went whoa, and it the one of the things that I love about that movie is the book is very grim, and it's one of those rare cases where I think the movie is better than the book, and I think that's in large part due to Rob Reiner.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like his rapport with Kathy Bates kind of pushed her into that Oscar winning performance. And they have a very similar sense of humor. And I feel like that comes through on the screen where even though she is, demented and sad, but social. Um, Sorry, I don't know why I just did that line from Heather's, but anyway, I or the Breakfast Club. Sorry. Yeah, I think that it's just such a perfect thriller for me, and I think not to take anything away from James Caan because I thought he was really good in it, but the direction and the the performance by Kathy Bates just kind of makes it my favorite of his movies.
Yeah, there's something about Misery that I've never been able to verbalize it properly, but I'm going to try to. Is that there's an almost comic absurdness to the
Hmm.
direction of the film
Yeah,
that prevents it from from becoming too grim, like you were talking about. Like the book is grim. Like he manages to stave that off by making it almost comically absurd without touching the characters, which is very
yeah,
I find very fascinating.
yeah. That it's such a perfect thriller that you almost don't know where to start. You know what I mean? Because of the
Hmm.
fact that what do you talk about first? Do you talk about the actors? Do you talk about the direction? Do you talk about, and I think you can't talk about one without the other because it's just so, you know, that, like you said, that absurdity is not, it's not to the detriment of the film where some thrillers like that where they try to be, you know, a little too twee or they just really, he nails it in the direction and the close-ups and the, you know, the angles that he does.
Hmm.
Richard Farnsworth and Francis Sternhagen in that movie. You know, you can tell that you can tell that they were having fun on and off screen. And from everything I've heard, that's a big part of Rob Reiner's direction is to make everybody comfortable and to make sure that everybody is there and having fun and wanting to do the best for him. And
Yeah, somebody was one of the stars, and I forget their name now, but they were talking about how they were talking about working with Rob Reiner and how it was Kevin Bacon. Was talking
yeah,
about
yeah, I
Rob
would say
Reiner and
that.
said that it was the first time he'd ever, when on a set, had lunch with the director. The director was always off doing other things in every other movie. Rob Reiner was there at lunch with the cast and the crew and part of everything.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you see that in like Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
You know, he's on screen as well, but it's just it's that rapport and camaraderie that he brings to everything that for me comes, you know, is kind of a through line, whether it's comedy or tragedy or a little of both. Um, you know, from Spinal Tap to When Harry Met Sally to Misery, there's a through line of we're having fun and some of this stuff might be pretty heavy, but we're still gonna have fun and enjoy ourselves making it. And I think that comes through in every one of his movies.
Undoubtedly. I don't know what else there is to say. I think just it's incredibly sad. But he did things that really aren't talked about enough, like the level of that run of movies from like the
Mm-hmm.
start with This Is Spinal Tap to uh, through. I mean, even The Sure Thing, which people don't talk about. Roger Ebert called that movie miraculous. Like
Mm-hmm.
that movie, and that movie is deeply underrated and underseen. But you take that and then Stand By Me, and then and then he makes The Princess Bride, and then When Harry Met Sally, and then A Few Good Men. It's like, what? How many other directors have that run? That's ridiculous. That's a a run that like you would have to compare with like the greatest directors of all time. We're not just talking about an average director here. We're talking about the Spielbergs. We're talking about Scorsese's. We're talking about that kind of run, which he doesn't get that kind of credit because his movies don't have this very unique look to them, like an auteurist kind of look. Like I'm watching a Scorsese movie, I know I'm watching a Scorsese movie. I'm watching,
Yeah.
Ari Aster. This is Ari Aster's style. I think there's such a populism to his approach to making films that you can underestimate. He's so connected to the emotions and to the humor, and that I think you forget that that you're truly seeing something that is deeply artistic and moving.
Yeah. Yeah. He, I think it comes through that he's an actor as well
Mm,
on things because he knows how to talk to actors and how to relate to them in a way that makes everything just seem so easy. Like when Harry Met Sally is not, there's not a lot of acting in it.
right.
It's natural. It makes you want to be around these characters. And I think that's one of his hallmarks is you want to know the people that he is featuring because they seem so accessible. Because I think he lends that to uh, his direction. The fact that he was an actor and he knows what it takes and what he would like to be directed like as an actor comes through,
Yeah.
on screen.
I mean, you can see some of that in the supporting role he plays in Sleepless in Seattle, which I think is one of the best things, one of the best parts of that movie is his
Oh
and
yeah,
his and Tom Hanks' friendship and the back and forth between the two of them is just it's hysterical.
yeah, really. Yeah, it's it. I mean, would we be having this kind of a conversation about Rob Reiner if he hadn't died in such a horrible way? I think we it wouldn't be so visceral and
It'd be less
um,
grim. It'd be less
it'd be
sad.
less grim. Yeah,
We would be smiling and laughing a lot more if he had passed quietly in the night. And you can
yeah,
just go, then you can just celebrate the artistry instead of having to also have the weight of all of this that happened and all the president of it all and uh get rid of all that trash. He just passes away in his sleep one night. You can just sit here and you can smile about and think about Carrie Elwes and and, Andre the Giant and all that stuff. But it's
yeah,
harder. It's harder to see that stuff through the haze of the just the atrocious thing that happened and the atrocious people that talk about it.
yeah, yeah. But we'll always have his movies. And I think there a lot of his stuff are classics for definitely in the movies that you must see.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, aside from the sure thing, I think that everything could be held up as a classic. And I just in one way, shape, or form. But yeah, I don't know what else to say
Yeah,
without sounding so maudlin and everything. But you know, what a shitty
it
thing
was
to
just
happen.
he was a wonderful person. I know this from meeting him. I know this from his politics. I think his empathy and intelligence is what made his movies so great. Everything, that's the key to all of it. Is this man who was deeply connected to people and caring about people. You can't make these movies that he made without that. You can't enjoy his movies without that. If you tell me that you're a Donald Trump fan and a Rob Reiner fan, I simply don't believe you because you've
Yeah,
never watched his movies.
no,
You can't understand. You can't call yourself a fan of his if you don't feel something while watching his movies that is something beyond just entertainment, like the genuine humanity at the center of it. Like if you're not getting that, you're not getting Rob Reiner.
yeah.
I really don't know how
Ah.
conservatives watch movies at all because really that's really the most important aspect of art is not whether or not it makes you feel whether or not it makes you smile or not is it's actually something much deeper than that. You have to be able to empathize with the characters. And if you're sitting there going, well, I can't believe they're feeding that child, you need to go. You can't possibly be enjoying a movie. You're not a human being at that point.
Yeah, I just I've seen some people who I feel like they were going out of their way to not say bad things about him because they didn't want to be, hypocritical about the whole Charlie Kirk thing.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like if he had just died of natural causes, those same people would have been like, "Oh, God knows," and he just took, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
They would say, I mean, the guy in the White House would have said the same bullshit.
yeah, yeah,
There'd be no difference there. Because that's just who he is. He's just a toxic pile of whatever.
demented piece of shit.
All right. Let's talk
Yeah.
about movies. And
Oh,
in talking about movies, we're going to keep talking about politics because we have to talk about Ella McCay, starring Emma Mackey as the lead character. Ella, who is the lieutenant governor of an unspecified state, seems like a northeastern state, but you can't say for sure exactly which one. She's the lieutenant governor because she paired up with a sort of old school liberal politician played by Albert Brooks, who used her kind of policies and energy to drive his campaign. And the main way he did that was to take away anything really good about what she did and just make it palatable for people to listen to. Then you have he's leaving office, so she's going to become governor for at least the next 14 months. She's got a lot of things going on in her personal life that make this even more difficult. Her relationship with her father, played by Woody Harrelson, who is a medical executive who cheated on his wife a lot. Her mother, and then of course her mother died, and becomes a difficult situation to try and have a father who can deal with in that situation. She does have Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays her aunt Helen, who's the best character in the movie. And she's got a brother who's kind of becoming almost agoraphobic after having his heart broken, or seemingly having his heart broken by Iowa Berry's character. Um, I admire some of this. Like, some of this reminds me of the classic stuff that James L. Brooks has made in the past. It's obviously very liberal perspective, but the thing that really stood out to me, Jeff, was that this is very old school liberal, the kind of old school liberal that just looks at corruption and thinks it's something to make fun of and not something to fix. And that's where I part ways with the movie, is that I can no longer just take this thing where, oh, well, Washington, what are you going to do? Hey, those corrupt politicians, eh? Oh,
yeah,
fuck you. No, no more. I'm done with it. I'm done with that. I'm done with that attitude. You know what? As a member of Gen X, we all sat out. We let our parents' cynicism in that direction just kind of make us all go, yeah, it's all fucked, and then we do nothing. It made it easier for us to do nothing, so none of us stepped up to lead. None of the Gen X wanted any responsibility whatsoever. We completely, vacated our post and allowed people like Chuck Grassley to remain in office for 98 years because we wouldn't demand the wheel. And we did that because we were listening to guys like Brooks. And that's nothing against James L. Brooks. We're on the same side. I know he's an old school liberal, but he's wrong. And he needs to accept that.
yeah.
He needs to accept that we can't just laugh at corruption anymore. We can't just point fingers and mock corruption anymore. We have to destroy it. That's the only option. You have to destroy corruption. Laughing at corruption is how you get Donald Trump. That's how you end up where we are. And the thing that really the politics of Ella McCay reminded me of was the current Democratic leadership, who look at people like Mamdani and AOC and say, hey, stop that. You're making us look bad.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You're making it look like we're not trying here.
Which you're not.
Which we're not, but I mean, we don't want people to know that.
We don't want people to realize that. Come on.
Which I think is an actual quote from this movie. I'm not sure. It might be from the side of the movie that wins, by the way. Just FYI, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
That side wins in the end. Ella McCay is portrayed as this character who is very policy forward. She's got a great deal of energy, but anytime she talks about policy, it's apparently very funny for people to just fall asleep and for the movie to point at her and laugh because she cares so much about a policy. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter if the policy was right. I mean, clearly her policy was correct. It was the right policy, but he fails to establish that it's her as a person that's failing and not the policy. He associates the two as a failure, and that makes the whole thing a failure. On top of which, there's this tone-deaf thing about her and her husband where she's been married to the same guy for quite some time since she was very young. She's 34. She's married to almost like her high school sweetheart. So they've been married for years. And somehow during all that time, she didn't see what a piece of shit he was. But her sex scandal that she has is that she spends her lunch hours having sex with him in an apartment that's owned by the state, and that's against the law. But it's like I just could not imagine how dim-witted this idea is. Just the mental gymnastics you have to get to turn that into your one of your central scandals of the movie. It was just so ludicrous. I mean, just when they got to the basically the punchline of that, it reminded me of like Jeb Bush, the Jeb Bush meme. Please clap.
Yeah.
Like just because it's not inviting that on its own. You know? It's like it's trying to beg you, please. That was a funny thing we did. No, not really. No. Um, it's such a weird movie in so many ways, though. I think there are elements that work. Like I think Jamie Lee Curtis was great. She
Hmm.
fucking nailed it to every aspect. She was right on point. She has, of course, nothing to do with the dumb shit in the movie, so it helps. Gives her a little bit of room to move. But everybody else seems mired in the dumb shit.
Yeah, I mean, Margot Robbie was great. I mean, oh, I'm sorry, what was her name? Emma Mackey. I She looks so much like Margot Robbie. It was distracting. Um, I was trying to figure out how I felt about this movie all day yesterday and today, and you kind of like hit on a few things. It My first thought was when I walked out was like it's so uneven. There are like the good parts are great. I think that she is great in the lead role most of the time, although it's a little too manic pixie dream governor for me. That was what I thought it while I was in the theater. I'm like, oh, this is manic pixie dream girl in a position of power. Um, yeah, so I you're right about Jamie Lee Curtis. She was the best thing in this movie. Um, and she's the one who always knows. She's the smartest one in the room. She should have been the governor. You know what I mean? It's like,
I don't know about
um,
that, but I get
yeah.
what you're saying. That she was the best part of the movie, but
Woody Harrelson was not good. He was in a part that was just not. It was not a good part overall.
yeah,
Um,
I think they wanted to like draw a comparison, like a mirror for her to look into, seeing how
yeah,
shitty her father was, and finally seeing how shitty her husband is. Like, but they don't land that because
no,
the husband's character is dumb and cruel, and not even really cheating on her, that
right,
we're aware of. He's just dumb and cruel, whereas her father, like they give him this arc where it seems like he's trying to be a better person, but we're not going to find out about that because there's no forgiveness for him, which is fine.
yeah,
If somebody in your life is a piece of shit, cut him out. Cut
yeah,
him out. Don't think about it. You don't have to have ugly people in your life. But I think there was a far more interesting story there with the father. If you build up that character and make him matter to the story, maybe
yeah,
that could be something that you could use. Maybe he's the reason there's a scandal and not the rest of her life. Maybe the scandal is that she's single and she might start dating while she's governor. And people are like, I can't believe she's single and dating as a governor. That's so weird. And then you can have her and Camille Nanjiani work on the chemistry that they very obviously have that they can
yeah,
never express throughout the entire fucking movie for some reason because of this stupid plot about her husband who's just she it's poor construction because he makes her look bad at every turn. They don't give
hmm,
him any redeeming qualities to make him seem like he at any point was a guy who was worthy of anything. um it just doesn't ah so annoying. Like Brooks is good at this stuff. Like I, the movie Spanglish is one that comes to mind with Sandler. one of Sandler's better performances. Brooks, when he creates like this emotional chaos that people are forced to deal with and trying to, round their personal life into something that makes sense. He's really good at that. Terms of Endearment is all that. It's just this a big emotional mess of chaos in all directions. And that's what makes it beautiful and memorable because it's so relatable. This is just an old school liberal who doesn't quite understand why nobody likes his politics anymore.
Yeah, it's like if Chuck Schumer made a movie.
It really is.
Well, and I think like if you want, I thought about this as I was kind of like going over the movie yesterday. You could have given um, Woody Harrelson the role of meeting her husband, and he could be the one that says he is not a good guy. Take it from somebody who's not a good guy. He is going to ruin your life. I know I'm not a good guy, but I also know he's not a good guy.
They'll say
He was,
that sounds like something James L. Brooks would write. Like that sounds like something that you'd have heard in broadcast news.
yeah. So I kept thinking I want to like this movie. There's a lot of it to actually like, but I just couldn't get there.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't make myself like I couldn't talk myself into, oh, this is so great. The performances are so great because it's so uneven that it's not it doesn't all come together the way James L. Brooks project should, whether it's TV or
Yeah.
movies or
I'm going to come
it's
at this
just not there.
from kind of an odd angle, but in John Wick, part of the reason why John Wick works is that the script is tailored in a way that everybody's afraid of John Wick before they've even seen him on screen. They build up this legend, this man that can't be stopped, and you get more and more excited to meet this John Wick guy. And here, Brooks just continues to undermine her character. Oh, well, she's boring. She only focuses on politics, and she doesn't have the ability to do the other thing that go with politics. She can't raise money. Her plans are too broad and they're too big and all this bullshit. And then, people fall asleep while she's talking, and she's got a shitty husband, and like everything he tells us about her is trying to undermine this character that he's supposed to be building up and showing as a a true leader, as a character you want to enjoy and follow.
Yeah, and she was just too like morally perfect.
Yeah.
And even though she did some things that were questionable, they had to constantly, like, well, she might have done this, but she's going to go and fix her brother, you know. And I, as much as I love Io Edebiri, I did not need her. I did not need that scene with the boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
or with the brother and her. It just seemed like it was padding to me. Um,
I thought in terms of just the scene itself, I thought the acting was fantastic, and the
yeah,
story
yeah,
they're telling was terrific. But it's in the wrong movie. You
yeah.
you put it. I know I'm certain that is in this movie because he fell in love with it, because he fell in love with
Hmm.
the way that the way it flowed and the performances. He was not going to cut that, even though it's quite obviously something that doesn't fit this movie. Whereas
Yeah,
again, if you just turn this back around, lose the husband and turn things towards her family. Her father has this, big personality. Everybody knows him. Everybody also knows his reputation. And she's dating a guy who reminds everyone other than her of her dad. And there you can have that way. It's not like all the weight is on that character to sell the story, because if you put all the
yeah.
character, because right now, as it is, they put all the weight on this Jack Loudon character, who is just a piece of garbage from the beginning, and you don't care about him at all. it's almost frustrating to watch that they put all of the dramatic weight on that character who makes no sense in this universe. But if you shift the gears and make it about her dad, and maybe it's because her dad that people are going to go, oh, we're not so sure about you because, look who you came from. Like that, that makes a lot more sense. Then you can have the brother plot because, again, him being affected by his dad and having been raised that way, obviously that makes him who he is. Like, that makes a lot more sense. But instead,
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson feels like the one that's tacked on, and this shitty Jack Loudon character has all of the, plot weight on him.
Yeah, I just it was just so uneven and so kind of messy that I couldn't I kind of couldn't wait for it to be over. And you didn't get a sense of she didn't really seem like she came into any, realization about herself. They just
Yeah.
gave her what they thought she should be doing, and she didn't have any sort of agency over it. It was like, we're going to take this from you. And instead of that, the really clever, her, what you expect. And yes, I know, like, expect it doesn't mean that it should happen, but in a movie like this, I really needed that. I needed the expectations where she would, you know, her ratings would go up and she would somehow pull it out of her ass and, you know, prove everybody wrong.
Yeah,
But
instead it's the same, like that ending with her giving in and walking away.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, that's what she does. She gives in and she walks away. That is the thing that really brought to mind people like Cory Booker and Charles Schumer, who keep telling people like Mamdani and AOC to stop rocking the boat so much.
Yeah.
And we're watching a movie where those people win. and, and and it's like, I no thanks, not interested in that. I don't care about that. I don't want
Yeah.
that. Don't, not anything but that. Just not that. It's so dumb. Oh,
And
it's
and I also
it's
thought,
frustrating because it's like there's something close to being a movie that you could enjoy here. There's just a couple things you could change that could make this a
mhm,
good movie.
I would have I think I would have enjoyed a movie from the perspective of the brother and Io Edeberry's character, who I don't remember her name. Um, but where they were each living their own lives, and like they show the breakup at the beginning, and then they're each doing parallel lives, and at the end they come together, and maybe his sister is the governor or the lieutenant governor giving him advice along the way, and maybe she's got Jamie Lee Curtis or somebody. That would have been a better movie to me. I I want to watch that movie, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's blinded by his old school politics. I think that old school liberals still think that horse trading and compromise is the way to move the world forward, and it's just not. Sorry, not with this group, not with the group of people we have who do what they do. Uh, we can't compromise with these people. Not possible. Because the things
Yeah.
that they want us to compromise on are the very things that make us who we are. Sorry, not going to do it. Not going to do that. And I'm not going to listen to any old school liberal who tells me that I need to make nice with the people who support the garbage heap that is the president.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I want to see this movie from the perspective of somebody like Mom Downey.
Or at least
I think it
somebody
would
who
be
has
more
some
interesting.
hope. You
Yeah.
know? At least somebody who thinks that the world can be changed. Like, just the slight change of keeping Ella in office and fighting might have been enough to make this at least tolerable. I wouldn't certainly be sitting here
Yeah.
talking about the this aspect of politics of this movie if at the very least he sided with her and believed in her. But he, the creator of the character of Ella McCay, doesn't believe in Ella McCay.
Yeah. It's so confusing that her name is Emma Mackey and this movie is called Ella McCay. I just have to say that because I kept calling it Emma Mackey or Emma
Yeah.
McKay and Ella
Mhm.
Mack. I just should have gotten Margot Robbie. Um, Just kidding. She looks exactly like Margot Robbie, though. Anyway.
Yeah, let's talk about a good movie, shall we?
Oh, please, let's.
Let's talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night. This is of course, a remake of the incredibly controversial '80s Christmas horror film, uh, in an all new package, just an entirely new version of this film franchise. I'm just trying to pull up the basic information. Directed by
Mhm.
and written by Mike P. Nelson, and starring Rohan Campbell and Ruby Modine in the main characters. Of course, Billy watched his parents get murdered on Christmas by Santa Claus. Of course, this is going to fuck you up. It certainly does fuck him up, but there's a twist. We'll get to that. He grows up to be Billy, who's a killer who he kills people over the Christmas holidays. We see him commit a couple of murders, and he's filling out this advent calendar with the blood of his victims. And it's like these are nice little twists on convention. It's like it's bleak, it's kind of dark, but it's also kind of darkly funny in a way. And
Yeah.
he arrives in this small town. He meets this girl named Pam, and falls for her just about immediately, and decides to stay in this town, even though he shouldn't, because he's got this voice in his head that is directing him towards his murders. And do we talk about the twist, Jeff? Or I think we have to talk about it,
You
don't
know
we?
what? Yeah. If you don't want to hear spoilers, just fast forward towards the end of the show. I would say probably about a good 20 minutes from now, because this movie is fucking bonkers and I want to talk about it.
So
Um,
the twist then is basically he's Dexter. Uh, he's a killer who
he's,
kills killers.
he's a cross between Dexter and Venom.
And I thought that's pretty cool. Like, that's a neat twist. I was smiling when I realized exactly what it was that they were doing with that. They don't give away the game very quickly. They let it linger long enough for you to kind of be questioning it, especially with this character named George that gets his head split open with an axe. Like, you're kind of going, that's weird. Why did he do that? Oh, that's why he did that.
Yeah.
That was great. And then there's this scene with a group of Nazis. It's one of the
Oh,
most viscerally satisfying things I've seen since I would say Inglorious Bastards.
I went with my friend Phil and my friend Noah, and I literally went, yeah, in the theater, because every time Charlie, the voice in his head, who is actually the one who has killed his parents at the beginning of the movie, when he transfers his power and gets into Billy's head, he he knows more about these people than Billy could, and he knows that this woman is a bad person, but then he kind of lets Billy figure out why by sending him to this party that they're all at. And you think it's going to be the title card comes up every time he's going to kill somebody that says kill, and then that person, and then a picture of them. And I can't remember her name off the top of my head now. It's gonna drive me nuts. But you see the blood red title card that um I gotta get her name because it's just so funny. Uh
It's
she
lean.
Delphine.
Delphine.
Delphine. It says kill. It's like a picture of her in her Nazi uniform standing up underneath the two huge swastikas, and it says kill Delphine, but then you see something click in his face and it goes kill Nazis. And I went, yeah. Oh, that was great. It was so satisfying, and I I'm sure that it alienated half the voting public
I
because they're all
mean,
Nazis
good.
now. Yeah.
Good. If you got a problem with people killing Nazis, like, you can go somewhere else.
Yep, exactly. Um, but when that I just it was so satisfying and so funny. And that's the thing that like I didn't understand. I didn't watch a trailer for this movie until the day of, and it was a trailer that was interspersed with shots from the original. So I thought that, it was a straight up remake, and it really uses that as kind of a gateway to turn into a completely different movie.
Mhm.
Now they do
Essentially,
use,
it essentially fixes the kind of a lot of the narrative problems of the first one.
yeah, yeah, like how do why the original, which we'll talk about, it goes through each step into how he turns into this killer. But this is a super simple explanation. It's just supernatural. And while I talked about before that the supernatural element doesn't belong in like a movie like the 2019 Black Christmas
Mhm.
and how that ruined that completely for me, it works so well here because it gives you the reason he's killing, the kind of impetus behind how you make him a sympathetic character without having to go through all the trauma that he suffered in his life,
Uh-huh.
and turns him into the Dexter good guy or anti-hero, I guess is probably a
Right.
better
We're not
way.
encouraging anyone to kill anyone, even if it is a Nazi.
No,
But if a Nazi dies, I'm not going to be sad about it.
no, not at all. But yeah, but they do it in a like a such a tongue-in-cheek kind of way almost in some of the scenes that the ones that are not tongue-in-cheek really kind of stick out and land a little bit better. I have to shout out the fact that they used the original songs that the guy wrote for the original movie it to such great effect. There's a song called Sleigh Rider that plays in the original, and they use that during the scene where he's killing the Nazis. And I gripped my friend's arm, and I was just like, I can't believe they're doing this to this song. It's just, I loved this movie. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I popped pretty big when we see him at work one day at this one of his jobs that he's had along the road, and somebody leans into the kitchen where he's cooking and goes, "Hey, Billy, it's garbage day." It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey,
garbage
Billy,
day.
garbage day. Oh, and the only thing that could have made that scene better is if he go, oh, garbage day. Like, um, did you catch the Black Christmas reference?
I did not.
He's ordering candles for the store on the phone, and he goes, "Hey, Agnes, it's me, Billy," which is one of the creepiest lines from the original Black Christmas movie. So, yeah, give Bloody Disgusting their props, and I just Mike D. Nelson. I pretty much forgive you for doing that Jason commercial. Um, for
I'm
Angry
not aware of
Orchard, yeah.
this. This
Oh, yeah. There was up. They just deleted it from YouTube, but there was up until recently a brand partnership between Jason Universe with a new shitty looking mask and Angry Orchard.
hmm.
So they rebooted Jason by putting him in an Angry Orchard commercial that was 13 minutes long.
Wow.
And Mark D. Nelson directed it. Um, so
Mike P. Nelson.
Mike P. Nelson, sorry.
No problem.
Yeah,
I rarely ever
I
get to correct you.
right. Meanwhile, no, I just adore this movie. I thought I've been recommending it to anybody who's a horror fan, especially if they're a fan of the original. Um, my boss at work is a big fan of the original movie, and she's like, she saw me wearing the next day. She saw me wearing my Punish shirt with Billy on it that I designed, and she goes, "Oh, nice shirt." And I'm like, "I didn't know you like this movie." She goes, "Yeah, I love that movie. It's great." And I'm like, "Oh, well, wait until you see the remake." She goes, "There's a remake?" I said, kind of, but I'm not going to say anything else about it. You have to go see it. And she's just like, okay. And I'm just dying for her to see it because I want to see what she says. But
And again, I know people are going to get upset. How are you dragging politics into this one now? Well, it's because wokeness has turned two 80s horror classics. I mean, it just kind of turned them up to 11 with this and the Toxic
mhm,
Avenger, just totally leaning into leftward territory without saying it. These
yeah,
are woke horror movies, guys, and I hope you enjoy
yeah.
it. because I mean we're killing Nazis, I mean the Toxic
Child
Avenger did
molesters.
killing people who are professing right wing beliefs. Like it's a lot. It's great, and both movies are terrific. Just for being so bold and edgy, in the way that the originals had to kind of hide. Uh, Maybe they didn't have
Yeah.
the intellect behind them to truly get at what they were getting at, but I think both had I think both led into where we are now, and I think that's kind of wonderful that that's able to happen now. And it didn't translate to any big box office or anything, but still,
No.
it was awesome for us because we got to enjoy it.
It was not a good week for the box office just in general.
Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of hard to do anything after what happened, but
yeah. Well, and the fact that the Midwest had
buried in snow.
buried in snow and cold, and yeah, I'm gonna see this again before Christmas. I had this is the best theater experience I've had this year, and
Nice.
there weren't that very many people in it, but everybody who was there fucking loved it and were cheering and laughing in the right spots. Um, just yeah, I this was the best theater experience I've had this year.
Shout out to
Now,
Ruby Modine too. She
oh yeah,
was so much fun in this movie. I think I liked the sharp edges that they allowed her to have. So many characters like her in movies like this don't get to have sharp edges, and they gave her sharp edges in the best possible way.
oh yeah, she was great. I it took me a minute to recognize who she was because I saw Happy Death Day and whatever she was in that, and um a few other things, but I just was like, once I just she's just got something. And the way she was kind of like when she went to beat up the kids in the hockey rink, I laughed my fucking ass off. I was like, oh my God, that was just, hey, motherfucker.
If
Yeah,
you want to
just,
see Silent Night, Deadly Night, you're certainly going to need to do so quickly because it's not going to be here very long.
yeah,
Our theater's already got it down starting this weekend to 10 a.m. and 12 noon.
yeah,
So it won't be here very long, guys, if you want to get out and see that one.
yeah. I would rather watch this 5 times than even go watch Avatar Fire and Ash once.
Avatar feels like I'm sentenced to watch it, whereas
Fuck
Silent Night,
you.
Deadly Night, I was like, yeah, I'm excited to see this.
I didn't, I honestly thought it was just going to be a straight up remake, and I heard somebody say that they thought it was a shot for shot remake, which I was not excited about.
Yeah,
Um, and it does the setup is fine, but then when it veers off and it's its own thing, I was just like, this is like one of my favorite remakes of all time. And
it was really good. It's really
yeah,
fucking good. And it's so smart what they did with it. And this kid, Rohan Campbell, I'm not
yeah,
familiar with him,
he
but
was.
his face looks so familiar the entire movie.
You know why?
Hmm.
He was Halloween Ends.
Really?
He was the main character in Halloween Ends.
Wow. Yeah, I fucking hated
Um,
that. So
yeah, well, and I had a couple people who were like, oh, I'm not going to see this because he ruined Halloween Ends, and I'm like, no, David Gordon Green ruined Halloween.
yeah,
The franchise. He killed the franchise. For now. Rohan Campbell was perfectly fine in it, and if they had done it the way after watching the entire trilogy, if I could make an edit, I would, and it would probably be better. But that movie should have been first. You set up the character, and then he's Allison's boyfriend, and then you know whatever. But he was good. I really
it's a
liked him. He
much
was
better
in the
stage for him.
yeah. He was in the Monkey this year as well. Do you remember? He was the guy with the long hair that was at the end of the movie. He was in the car.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to. Yeah, that's probably where I remember because I barely remember Halloween Ends with a
Well,
purpose.
it's all about repressing bad memories. I really like Rowan Campbell. He's what I call ugly hot. like Jeremy Allen White and uh, Adam Driver. Sometimes they're really hot, and sometimes they're really ugly. So he's ugly hot. Also, did you see the some of the um, social media advertisements for it?
No, none of it.
Okay, so there's one where it said, and apparently he's got a big following from the Hardy Boys reboot from a few years ago. Um, the one of the ads was, "Show us your ticket stub, and we'll send you pictures of Rowan's feet."
God, that's awful.
He's got to be in on that. I think
I would,
because
I would hope so, but Jesus.
yeah, but
No.
I think he's got something. I'm not sure what it is and if
Mhm.
it'll translate into something, but after this movie I just want to see him do, more. Whether he stays in horror movies or not, I don't know. I think he would be great as like a horror movie staple, but
I'd like to see more of this movie. I'd like to see, Silent Night, Deadly Night too.
mhm,
I'm all in for more of this idea, more of this
yeah.
excitement. I'm not sure if they can do this again, but yeah, there's a possibility there. They did set up a sequel, kind of, but
Yeah.
um, I don't, I liked it that much that I would be, as opposed to say like Avatar, which I wish they would stop making. I would love to see another one of these.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
And the thing that put me off, the thing that had me like going like I'm not so sure about this, is that I'd heard a rumor that it's going to be like Terrifier. They're going to make it like just
Mm,
super over the top gory, and it's not. They employ gore incredibly well. The head splitting scene is shocking, but it has an amazing payoff later in the movie. Yeah, the killings of the Nazis are just brutal. Like it reminded me, no joke, it reminded me of Kill Bill. It reminded me of the club
yeah.
scene in Kill Bill. That's how good that is. I'm not taking that back. That is that good that it evoked that thought.
And
So they
this
use
movie
gore
is
incredibly well.
unrated. This movie's
Yeah.
unrated, but I feel like it could have been, if they'd gone to the ratings board, it would have been a hard R. I don't think, I think the unrated version, like part of it is just the fact that they wanted to do it as a marketing thing, which is
Yeah.
fine. But it's not so gory where it's like Terrifier, which is I appreciate because that's one of the things that turns me off about the Terrifier movies is that a lot of them are gore for gore's sake.
Yeah. Especially the sequels. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Let's talk about
I
okay. So
love this movie.
yeah, if you come to the end of the year and you put this in your top 10, I'm not even going to blink.
I'm very tempted at this point.
I won't be in mine, and that's not a knock against it. I've got a lot of movies on my list. I've got like 25 movies on my list trying to get into the top 10.
mine
So,
mine could easily be horror and Life of Chuck. You know what I mean? Spoiler alert.
yeah, that's how the years work. Yeah, but yeah, no, normally I might look sideways at something like that, but not this movie. This movie is just that good.
I'm so glad you liked it.
Yeah, this one like this one in Toxic Avenger just sort of just surprised me with just
Mhm.
being so incredibly smart with things that were not incredibly smart when they were made.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's go back to November of 1984 for a movie called
Santa's
Silent Night.
watching, Santa's waiting.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, starring Robert Brian Wilson as Billy Chapman, one of three actors who played Billy in the original. He watches his parents get murdered by Santa Claus, grows up to be traumatized by all things Christmas, and perhaps that's the best part of the movie is that the repeated sightings of his various triggers, everything around him keeps triggering, like keeps pushing him towards being a killer. And to his credit, Robert Brian Wilson, he doesn't have a lot to do, but he finds the right tone for this
Yeah.
movie. He's not a great actor, but when he says stuff like naughty, like you giggle a little bit, and then like, oh shit, here comes the murder part. Um, I appreciate what he was able to do under the circumstances, which I think is the nicest thing you can say about really any of the performances in this movie. This movie thrived on being controversial. This wasn't the first movie to treat Santa Claus as a killer, right?
No, well, there was I think there was an episode of Tales from the Crypt, or the Tales from the Crypt movie, with Joan Collins, and she runs away from a killer Santa in one of the episodes of that movie. It's really the best part of that movie. And he's very scary and she's very hot. But yeah, it's I mean, there's been other things. The
All
controversy
Good Night,
was,
um,
yeah.
Christmas Evil.
Hmm.
I think both of
The
those
con
predated this one.
Yeah, the controversy arose with this one because a woman thought it was a movie about Santa Claus and she took her two children to see it and then complained to the media about it. And as
He's got an
Karens are wont to
axe
do,
poster.
on the posters too. Yes, thank you. It's like, what? You're a horrible parent, first of all. If you're taking your kids to see Silent Night, fucking Deadly Night, and the poster has a guy with an axe coming out of a chimney, and you think it's a movie about Santa Claus, you're a fucking idiot and a horrible parent. Your children should be taken away from you.
On top of which, I mean, Siskel and Ebert had already warned people about it by then. So
Yeah.
I don't know what her argument was, but by that point, Gene Siskel especially had already gone in on this movie before it came out.
Yeah. Well, they hated horror movies and slasher movies especially, but
They didn't like bad ones. They get
bad
a
ones are good
reputation for
ones.
they had a few of those that they did give positive reviews to, but they had a tendency, yes, to disregard some that they felt went too far.
They also gave out Betsy Palmer's address on air and told people to write her hate mail. So, yeah. Anyway, but no, yeah, the only reason this movie even was a blip on the radar was because it got banned because some woman was a fucking idiot.
This is a
So,
sleazy movie too. I
oh,
mean,
it's totally sleazy.
two things can be true. This woman's a moron, and this movie is not very good and very very sleazy. I mean, the number of sightings of boobs in this movie, which don't get me wrong, as a straight white guy, hey, boobs. Totally. But the way they shoehorn it in just to make it happen it's so pathetic. It's borderline pornographic. Like that kind of stuff is this just kind of makes it icky.
Yeah.
it's I mean, uh, you can make a movie like this and without making it nearly pornographic. It
Hmm.
just seems a little unnecessary, but um, as was the style at the time, I guess, as they say. Um,
Yeah.
this is a very sleazy movie, but there's an undercurrent to it that is so bad it's good. I would definitely throw this in the so bad it's good category because it's
Oh, yeah.
the deer head kill is just it's iconic. It's a great piece
Hmm.
of horror movie imagery. The poster's terrific. Santa's arm and the axe going down the that's great. That's just a perfect design. That is an eye catcher. Like whoever did that deserves some credit, not not to be yelled at. They deserve credit for that because they did a hell of a job.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Well, one of the things about this though is that, and I've said this before. I think we've talked about this movie a couple times. The thing that I like about it is that it's a very straight line from him wanting to see Santa Claus to him becoming a killer dressed as Santa Claus, based on the fact that all the stuff that happens to him happens sequentially and makes sense in a certain sort of way. So yeah, that's one of the things that I can say, like, that I genuinely admire this movie about. So
Yeah.
now we can talk about all
There,
the
there,
shitty things.
there are plenty of shitty things about it. There are plenty of shitty things about the sequel too, which is just mostly the first
Mm,
film regurgitated, but it has that lead performance that is
oh,
truly just puts it over the top of actually being better than the original for me because I gotta shout him out. Eric Freeman, the guy absolutely crushes playing Ricky Caldwell.
hmm
I laugh so hard when I watch that movie, watching his performance, and then it even beyond Garbage Day, like the scene where he just takes like a battery cables, jumper cables, like puts them in a
uh-huh.
guy's mouth, like wild. That's all. That's a wild choice. Like the various different kills that he gets to have just are really great. And Garbage Day is iconic. It's such a bad performance and such a bad idea that it can't help but flip over into being brilliant.
My other favorite line, though, red car. Good point. And it's like he's doing eyebrow acting throughout the
Yeah.
entire thing,
Oh yeah.
where his eyebrows look like a Muppet and look like they're being controlled individually by cables.
Say what you will about him, the man was charismatic.
Oh yeah, he still is. He's doing cons now with Brian Robert Wilson.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Good.
so yeah, I would love someday to meet both of them and get my Silent Night pieces signed. Um, yeah, just he's just so like his first words are "fuck you, Doc," and we get to
Sleazy.
see, yeah,
It's sleazy
and
in the
we get,
best ways, this one, because they don't linger on what the first film did in terms of pornography. They but it's still sleazy because it's a huckster, this guy Lee Harry, who takes most of the first movie and just puts it into this movie and calls it a sequel. Like
yep,
that's the kind of behind the scenes sleaze that as shitty as it is, I get it. Like
hmm
it's not hurting anybody.
yeah, it's so low budget that you admire it for that.
Mhm.
You the fact that they don't ever explain how Mother Superior got her face burned. She's just like her face is burned or deformed
Uh-huh.
or something, and I'm just like, oh, they just must have had some extra Freddy makeup laying around,
Ah,
and they
ah.
just slapped it on her face.
Yeah, there's a cut
And
scene where like Ricky has to like throw acid in her face or something.
something, yeah, it's so bad, it's good. And like you said, you don't have to watch the first one because they literally recount the entire movie, and then there's that big part in the middle where it's his life, that it's oh god, it's so funny. I'm actually gonna. I didn't even need to watch it for the show to talk about it because I've seen it so many times. But I
Hmm.
started watching it this a little bit before we started recording tonight because I'm like, I haven't watched this yet this year. We're gonna sleep to this movie tonight. So,
I've not seen Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Better watch out. So
oh,
but,
would you like me to enlighten you?
oh please.
So, let me pull it up because I want to get the names right because you haven't seen it. So,
It's Bill
um,
Moseley as
yeah,
Ricky.
Bill
Know
Moseley
that.
plays Ricky, and it's Laura Herring is in it.
Oh wow.
Um, and it tells the story of a girl who is blind, who she sees visions of Ricky, and he has been shot in part two and presumably killed, but instead he's wearing a giant glass bubble on his head with his exposed brain. And Samantha Scully, who plays Laura sees visions of this throughout the throughout the movie, and he's coming for her because they have a psychic connection now. Richard Bamer, of all people, is in this movie. Um, Plays Dr. Newberry for Doctor, and I mean, it's a big career swing from West Side Story to this to Twin Peaks. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it's basically she and her brother and his brother's girlfriend go to their grandmother's house, and just like in Halloween Ends, her name is grandmother, not grandma, grandmother. Um, and they go there, and Billy comes after him in his Santa suit and his big glass dome.
You know what?
You
You
got
know what? Eric Freeman, good job, buddy. Not taking this one was
right.
just, I mean, well fucking done. It was beneath his dignity to put this
Yeah.
stupid thing in his head.
Robert Culp is in this movie. Oh, it's so
Wow.
terrible. But that image of him with the bubble on his head is kind of iconic.
It looks like a glass like serving tray top.
Yeah.
So stupid. Oh, I hate it. I hate it a lot.
Like you could just like pick it up and take a bite of his brain like you're watching Hannibal or something.
But at least he
But
was still, I guess it was still Christmas in that one. Whereas
yeah.
Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, not so much. 1990. We've completely abandoned anything related to what happened in the first three movies. Somebody just got the license to use the name Silent Night, Deadly Night, uh, made a movie. Made a shitty movie, but a fascinating one though, and because it's Brian Usna, who is like a master of body horror. Like this guy he's a fucking genius in so many ways, and to his credit, a couple times in this movie, he's created images that have haunted my nightmares for years, not the least of which is just anything to do with Clint Howard. But
Well,
the idea of Clint Howard with that giant nose having sex is just it's nightmare fuel like I've never had before in my life.
uh yeah, this is one of those movies where they took it was like a Hellraiser movie. They took an existing script, filmed it, added some Christmas stuff into it, and then slapped Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 on it. That's the only
Yeah,
explanation for this.
that's what they
Um,
did.
yeah, it was 100% a spec script. Um, Everybody who was involved in this should be ashamed, except for Clint Howard, because apparently he has none. Um, Reggie Bannister was in this.
Yeah,
Alice Beasley from Moonlighting, Maud
Maud
Adams.
Adams. Yeah.
Um, really nobody else that you've heard of. But like, it's so bad. It's just, it's, it's what it's worse than anything else in the series. And I think that is because of the fact that it's not in the spirit or a continuation of it at all. There's a couple scenes where they make it seem like, maybe this has something to do with Billy, but it doesn't. That's one of those things that they shoehorned in, and yeah, it's unwatchable, really.
If it were called Silent Night Deadly Night, I would disagree with you and say that it was actually pretty watchable. Just because Brian Usna does have a talent for some spectacular images. I think they fucked up calling this anything to do with Silent Night Deadly Night because it's just not. There's an idea here and there are some cool images, and that's my Brian Usna bias is that I want to give him a little bit of a pass. Whereas Silent Night Deadly Night 5, uh, want to talk about sleazy and gross. We're talking about the main bad guy's name is Joe Petto, and he runs a toy store.
And guess what his son's name is? Pino.
Petto.
In
Oh
case
my
you're not
god.
picking up on this, he is Geppetto And this is Pinocchio, his son. Do we need to say anything else about this fucking movie? Jesus Christ. First of
Well,
all,
again,
Mickey Rooney can eat my hairy asshole because he went out and talked about how sleazy and horrible the first one was when it was in the news and how they should be ashamed of themselves and run out of town on a rail. And he's in the fifth one. Fuck you, Mickey Rooney. Fuck your corpse.
yeah,
Okay. So,
7 years later, his poverty brings him to Silent
mhm.
Night, Deadly Night. There was only 7 years between the time he protested the first film to the time he's starring in the fifth film. Just pathetic, pathetic. But I gotta say again, the one thing I will give this movie is that it's got a nightmarish image of the kid, the Geppetto, the Pino pedo, trying to sexually assault a woman, but he has Ken doll
Yeah.
parts.
Yep.
I mean, that's at least a funny image. I got to give him that. There's also like the really bad, so bad it's good moment where like one character, there's a bunch of toys that come that Joe Petto has
Hmm.
made, and they come to life, and they shoot this woman, and her chest explodes, and she's not dead.
Yeah.
So stupid. It's so stupid because it's like she's clearly like her chest exploded open. She couldn't possibly be alive. It's very
Yeah.
dumb and very bad, but it's in keeping, with the kind of the trashy nature of the whole enterprise.
Yeah. It directed by Martin Kiffrasser, who wrote Friday the 13th Part 3.
Hmm.
And also Brian Usna wrote something for it, but I'm not sure exactly what.
Yeah.
Um, just oh god, it's so bad, and it's so like it's mean spirited.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, it's ugly.
literally,
Yeah.
it's it. There's no comedic thing that you would expect with somebody like Mickey Rooney being involved. You would think there'd be something funny about it, but it's just not. It's mean and
Ugly.
ugly
It's
and
nasty and gross, and yeah. I could
yeah.
never. I don't think there's anything good about it. I do. Again, the imagery though. A couple of those images are very very funny to me. That
Yeah,
I think Yuzna probably contributed the Ken doll parts during the sexual,
probably.
like that'll be pretty creepy to make and show. You twisted fuck. Good for you, Brian Yuzna.
Oh,
All right, Jeff. Next
oh,
week we've got Avatar,
oh, you mean homework?
the movie that people are making me see. Um,
And you're making me see it, so
And
what
The
can I say about you?
Housemaid. Maybe The Housemaid will be good. I mean, Sydney Sweeney's done a pretty great job this year. I know a lot of people don't like her. She's killed it this year with Christy and the Eden. She's fantastic in both of those. Maybe this is really good. I'm
I
willing
read the
to.
book.
I'm willing to bet on it. So,
Well, it's got Amanda
what's
Seyfried in it,
yeah?
so
Is the book
she's
good?
amazing. The book was pretty good. It's one of those, like there's always a twist in the Frida McFadden books. I've listened to a bunch of her stuff this year, um, and there's always some sort of twist. And I'm not going to give away the twist or anything, but it is not a great twist. But I hopefully the performances will kind of do something for it. I was really I'm gonna watch it, but I'm a little mad that it wasn't Julia Garner playing Sydney Sweeney's part because that's who I pictured.
Yeah.
So that was my headcanon before I knew there was a movie. Um, but yeah, I mean it's a decent story. It does there are some accusations of plagiarism about it because the book there's a couple scenes that are directly lifted from another book that we'll talk about next week when I talk about the movie. But yeah, I mean overall it it looks decent. It looks like it's going to be a decent adaptation of it.
It's
Um,
directed by Paul Feig. That's
that that is
he did a hell of a job with the A Simple Favor movies. Both of those movies are good.
when I was on Twitter years ago, he followed me on Twitter, and We DM'd a couple of times, and I wish I was still DMing with him because I would say, should I? But he did do a simple favor, so
Yeah, I think both those A Simple Favor movies are good, and so that gives me a little bit of hope that this won't suck.
yeah,
And anything that's not that opposite Avatar is going to have my attention. Be thinking
yeah,
about it more than I think about. I've got to get over this. I know I've got to try and find some way to be excited about Avatar or just tolerant of it. I can't go into it with this negativity. Here's
yeah.
the
I'm
thing,
just
though.
sad that
The thing is it's not going to be bad. Like, it's not going to be like, oh my God, that was atrocious. It's going to be mediocre because each of, like, the first one and the second one were mediocre at best. Cameron again is like an old school. He's another one of those old school liberals, not unlike Brooks. So it's not going to be bad, but it's going to be that kind of rooted in that kind of perspective again.
mhm.
Ugh. And the dialogue, my God, I was actually listening to our episode on the last Avatar. I just could not. We were so angry over the word "bro."
Oh,
Everybody
I
just
blocked
used it
that whole
so
fucking movie out of my
often.
head.
He just the guy is just the characters are just so bro, bro, bro.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, I
God, do I
can't.
not want to
God,
see this movie?
people bag on Lucas for being bad at dialogue. Why doesn't anybody bag on fucking Cameron for being terrible at dialogue? He's awful at it,
Bro,
bro.
bro.
That's next week, Jeff. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Have a good one.